having a tow and collect makes a non-glamorous thing glamorous. So you're driving around with a red attachment behind you, and it just makes it so sexy. And so I'll put it out there that if you're kind of like, oh God, I have to do manure like I am, this is definitely a sexy machine. My name is Dr. Maria Katsamanis. I'm a horse trainer, and welcome to my farm, Mythos Farm, here in Hopewell, New Jersey. I'm known around the world for my work with horses in facilitating improved communication, improving their physical wellness, rehab, and in general, being able to blend horses and humans so that they can be better together. Through the year, I'm really, really busy doing a number of things. I just released my latest book, Riding in Dignity, and that takes a lot of my time. I'm through the week working with horses and humans in lesson programs, clinics, traveling, and it's a luxury for me to be able to know that my farm, the pastures, and my horses are taken care of. And part of that wellness in my home-based farm is knowing that I have the equipment to make it easier for my staff. So that's how I connected with Tow and Collect. So I needed something that could free my time up too. And that's why it's been a blessing for me. When we moved to this new farm, one of the things we had to grapple with was a smaller acreage. Our previous setting was quite a number of acres, so I could, for example, rotate fields to move horses. And so it would keep the labor cost around manure management less. With a smaller farm, smaller property, the Tow and Collect came just at the right time. It was equipment we never used before, but through necessity, we had to find a better way because our labor cost had gone up and everything's going up. So we just had to find a way where we can make sure they're clean. Our horses were not going to be bombarded by flies. And we just did our fecals recently and everyone was negative. So that's a testament to the efficiency of using this type of equipment, how it's absolutely mandatory, absolutely necessary. Couldn't do without it on this property. One of the questions people ask me is, are you doing this every day? We don't necessarily need to, but what we have found is my foreman will, through the week, 3 to 4 times a week, go with the equipment, and it literally takes him a half an hour to go through each pasture, collect any manure, even any shrubbery, twigs. It'll pick these things up, and we adjust it according to the different seasons. But everything about it is very seamless. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, a good 15 minutes for someone to show you. But after that, we were up and going pretty easily. We have a system on how to unload it. That's very easy. And from start to finish, maximum time for 10 pastures, it takes us 45 minutes, and that's to make the adjustments. So the beauty with the manual one that I have found is that you can adjust it to the terrain. The device is so adjustable. I can do it. My foreman, who's doing this every day, can do it. If someone had to step in to do it for me, it would be a 15-minute learning curve. Nothing is broken so far. The wheels are durable. The horses get used to the clicking sound that it makes, and that's about the only thing that they have to get used to, because there's a slight clicking sound as it moves. So very early on when we purchased this property, and our assessment at the time was that we needed something more regular to manage our pastures. We could not get away with what we were doing in a 40+ acre farm. And we needed something we could remove manure at least 3 or 4 times a week. So I went on a mad hunt to look for the perfect equipment out there. So I went through the motions of looking at all the equipment, anything from what golfers were using, like in golfing, to remove duck and swan manure, to landscapers in these large estates, and anything in between. And different equipment. And I went through the motion of just evaluating that. The Tow and Collect unit was not here for me to test it like some of the other devices. So I had tested different devices, and I actually bought the Tow and Collect tried unseen, so to speak, because of two things. Number one, it was very important to me with any equipment that I have on the farm, that I have some kind of good customer service, because things do break and I am way too busy running about to be sitting trying to find equipment. So I needed to have a good connection with the company, and I needed to feel that this company was going to be around and they stood by their product. And so when I talked to this Bridget Tully and that connection, I instantly trusted that. She knew her product, she knew her client base, she understood land, the different land that this equipment could be useful for. That was a big selling point for me. And then some of the endorsements that were coming in from other farms that were in a way similar to what I have here, which is the Northeast, the ability to adapt the equipment to speak to my earth, so to speak, was key. So I literally bought it kind of tried unseen. And with the 30-day guarantee that if it didn't work for us, we could send it back. And we never sent it back. We never had a problem. We never had anything break. So we're happy. So one of my main concerns was, how is this going to be delivered? How am I going to put this together? I have way too many projects on my table to then grapple, for a week assembling this with my foreman. So Bridget Tully had said, well, go on YouTube. We do have some visual aids to help you. And I think, oh God, here we go. I'm a little too old to go through the YouTube and try, but actually the videos were very helpful. Between my foreman and I, we did literally step by step. It took us about half an hour when it arrived, to disassemble it. It was very easy. It did involve some work, so it's helpful to have someone next to you to help, but it was just the two of us. It was the blind and not the blind, and we made it happen. And coming to our new farm, we had to get, of course, new equipment speaking to the different demands. And manure management equipment was on that list. But of course, with the finances, one has to assess, is this necessary? And that's the question. Is this equipment that's absolutely necessary for us? Could we do without it? And for us, it was absolutely necessary, again, because of the labor costs, but also for many people that do call me and ask, Maria, you have this equipment, is this necessary? I mean, do you recommend it? I say, especially if you are having physical problems, the physical labor, picking manure, managing that takes a toll on your body. So for people that have physical issues, but still have their farms to manage, this is the perfect equipment for them. And it's totally worth the investment, because the labor involved is very minimal. It's bending over to just slightly to turn the wheel, and you'll see it sometimes in the videos how that goes. There's no physical lifting. And for me, that's worth every penny. Because for every bucket that I have to lift, for every shoveling that I have to do, it saves me for what I'm really supposed to be doing, which is training, riding. So it also spares my staff, who can focus on bigger and better things than that. So it's absolutely worth it for us. It's necessary equipment. So one of the questions that people have asked me before is, Maria, why would you want to remove it? I mean, fertilizer is good. But one of the things that science shows us is that kind of wet manure sitting there is a breeding ground for bots and flies, and we do fecals through the year to make sure that our horses are spared from some of the consequences of that. But what we do instead, and where the Tone Collect is genius, is that we collect the manure, we have a pile, and we compost it. So that pile sits and composts naturally. Our property, because it is on a slope, we have that natural erosion that happens. So having that composted manure gets then spread out is a much more healthy for our pastures, but overall healthy for our horses. There's less insects, less bugs, and our fields are happier for it. Sometimes when people ask me, what do you do? And I say, I'm a horse trainer. I work with people around the world. I'm a psychophysiologist by trade. And that sounds really, really glamorous. It sounds really exciting. And I get to travel and I get to meet different people like Bridget and connect with people from around the world. And it is a glamorous part of the job. The other part of the job, which is caregiving and taking care of horses and manure management, doesn't sound so glamorous. So having a tow and collect is kind of like, it makes a non-glamorous thing glamorous. So you're driving around with a red attachment behind you, and it just makes it so sexy. And so I'll put it out there that if you're kind of like, oh God, I have to do manure like I am, this is definitely a sexy machine. Nobody will know. It's so covert. People wonder, what is she doing over there? Because all you see is a pile of dust and something being dragged behind, but it's kind of really efficient, clean, and sexy for something that can be, in this industry, a little bit practical and unsexy. So it's absolutely worth it for us. It's necessary equipment.